No, nice tea. When you're making your tea, just remember the 4 basics. You want to have your mise en place, which again is your scale. You have your gaiwan. You have a fair cup, which is meant for equal distribution of the extraction. Hot water, timer. And then you have a couple cups, and you're going to be off to the races. Then step 2 is to dose. So you weigh everything. Weigh your tea, weigh your water. Number 3 is you're going to start making the tea. So when you're weighing your water, you're essentially beginning step 3. Once you've finished, you extract, pour into the cups, and you've really gone through the whole journey because you want to have multiple infusions here. You're going to get into step 4, which is clean. Going to be making an aged silver leaf. So what's kind of interesting about this tea is that it's a green tea. It appears to look somewhat like a white tea. I'd never heard of silver leaf until the farmer sent us samples of this tea. And I was operating under the belief that it was just another kind of specialty white tea. And then I was corrected by a friend in the industry, and it is a really interesting tea. Everybody needs to check this out. It's aged really well. A lot of green teas don't age well. Gonna weigh out 5 grams. My Gongfu extractions are almost always 5 grams, 80 mils. 80 mils weighs 80 grams. It smells fantastic. I like to count up with my timer, so I'm gonna fill to the 80 grams. I'm going to press go the moment that the leaves, This tea as well, like some selections that I work with, I don't rinse it. How to tell when you should rinse a tea versus when you shouldn't rinse a tea, it's a good question. You know, I personally, most of the time don't rinse greens and whites, but I do if I find that that first extraction is extremely bitter. If I get a really bitter first extraction, rinse. The Bhutanese Ngoja is a great example of a tea that tastes fantastic if you give it a rinse. The Huangshan Maofeng, fantastic if you give it a rinse. If you brew both of those and you drink the first infusion, it's intensely bitter and it actually affects your ability to taste consecutive extractions. Soft honey. Almost like candy. This is aging so well. And I found that the aromatics, everything just gets nicer and nicer the more that I'm drinking it. The second extraction is going to be a lot more body. The first infusion is all about aromatics. Sometimes we get asked about how to taste the tea. And definitely there's lots of ways of doing it. Wine drinkers will often give a slurp. You'll find that in coffee cuppings, there's the use of a spoon and slurping. One method that I like is you hold a little bit of the liquid onto your tongue. You kind of blow a little air out your nose and hold your breath. And that allows those retroolfactory senses to kick in, those smelling sensors behind your nose. And you're able to get a really good sense of flavor. Put your nose right in there. Really nice aromatics. Kind of like soft honey. It also helps to cool. Like if you do slurp a little bit, hold it there and you kind of almost like make a straw with your tongue. You're gonna find that you get just a wider hit of all those aromatics. They get just volatile oils will splash throughout your mouth. You'll taste on the sides of your tongue, you'll taste back of your tongue, you'll taste in the back of your throat. But I get most of the texture going over. I love the sensation of a really nicely extracted tea as it travels along the sides of the tongue. Keeps going. I'm gonna go for another infusion. And really, you can get a good 7, 8 infusions out of this tea. Just keep going for it. And then when this hits sort of kind of that ideal moment. And you can almost consider this a sensation, like you're trying to use math to make the tea by weighing the tea and weighing the water, but that's more of a JagaSilk methodology. Normally people are honing more of an artistic or interpretive or intuitive methodology. But I love to have these sort of signposts to start with, What does that extraction look like? What I would say about the silver leaf is that you can just keep going. I have personally taken it to about 9-10 steeps. Starts out quite subtle. You're gonna find first 2, if not 3 infusions are just, mostly aromatics. You do get a little bit of body in the second infusion. You start getting into the 4th, the 5th infusion, you start to get a lot of more acidity, better flavor structure. It really makes a big difference to go on that journey with this tea, for sure. Don't just brew it once and say you'll try future infusions later. Really spend some time with it. It's worth it. It ages really well. This tea, though, has been aging fantastic. I'm actually really interested in how it's going to taste in 5 years, 10 years. I've seen some greens age beautifully, and I think this is going to be one of them. That's my gut feeling on it. And then remember, step 4, when you're done drinking, clean it all up. Just run some water over the leaves, toss them into a sieve, tap that into the compost. And I've just been aging this tea. It's a lovely tea. You need to try this tea.